to another episode of Realistically Random. We have some sad reporting. There's another unalived black girl, 13 years old, from South Carolina. Her name is very similar to Naziah, but her name is Kanaya Baker. With this case, it has nothing to do with being unalived by a man that was essaying her or anything like that. She was actually unalived by two teen girls. Let's get into this. Two teens arrested for stabbing, bludgeoning, and burning of missing girl found dead in Columbia home. Columbia teens arrested for brutal murder of Kanaya Baker, 13, whose body was found in a home as crews responded to a fire. That's the young lady right there. So sad. Columbia, South Carolina. Columbia police said on Saturday that they have arrested two teens in the gruesome death of a missing 13-year-old found dead in a vacant home on Wednesday night. Police Chief Skip Holbrook described the killing of Kanaya Baker as heinous, vicious, and monstrous.
On Wednesday night at about 10:30 p.m., the Columbia Richland Fire Department responded to a reported structure fire at 114 Cardamon Court. That's in Capitol Heights neighborhood off of Farrer Road. That neighborhood consists of 102 residences, of which 30 are occupied. The location of the fire was in one of the 72 unoccupied units on the property. The fire department arrived to find smoke coming from inside the residence, and they made entry and soon located the deceased person on the floor inside. At that point, they contacted the police department, and of course, we responded to the scene. Upon our arrival, we determined that the deceased was a female, and she had suffered traumatic injuries to her face and body and had been severely burned.
Deferring to Coroner Grenada Rutherford, who provided details on how the teen died. The manner of death is not an accident, and this is not a suicide, Rutherford said during the press conference. This is a horrible homicide. Rutherford said that even when they were provided pictures of the victim while trying to identify Baker, those pictures didn't seem to match up. She said it took DNA evidence to prove the deceased was the missing girl.
Identifying a minor can be difficult. They don't have a DMV profile. They usually don't have fingerprints on file. And so we start with the basics. We look at missing teens, and Richland County Sheriff's Department contacted us with a possible description of a young girl who had gone missing. Unfortunately, the description that they were giving to us did not match what we had in front of us. And unfortunately, the description provided of Kanaya Baker was so different, in fact, that even the pictures that they sent of her just did not seem to match up. Due to severe trauma to her head, face, and body, visual identification just was not possible. And so we had to turn to science. We contacted Sheriff Leon Lott and asked him to please run DNA from dirty clothing found at the foster home that her foster mom brought to us. We used that clothing to extract DNA, and they were able to run that. We also simultaneously obtained dental records so that we could match the dentals from her last appointment. We were able to confirm that the young girl found in the burning house on Cardamon Court was that of missing teen Kanaya Baker. The manner of death is not an accident, and this is not a suicide. This is a horrible homicide. Her cause of death is blunt force trauma. And I want to address some rumors that I've seen.
Wow. Kanaya was bludgeoned, stabbed, and burned, Rutherford said, adding that her cause of death was blunt force trauma.
Kanaya was bludgeoned, stabbed, and burned. We will continue to collaborate with law enforcement to bring justice to her and her family. And
Wow. According to the Richland County Sheriff's Department, Kanaya Baker was last seen in the Hopkins area on January 13th. The department later alerted the public that they believed she was in danger. The department later alerted the police. Okay. Police said she was originally from Sumter and was in foster care in Columbia area. On Wednesday, Columbia police were called to a vacant home on Cardamom Court, where Columbia Richland fire crews found Baker while responding to fire reports. Police ruled the death suspicious and later confirmed that Baker's death was being investigated as a murder. Albrecht said police arrested a 16-year-old girl and a 15-year-old girl in connection with the case overnight Friday into Saturday. He said the 16-year-old was reported missing by her mom on January 12th and has a history of disorderly conduct, malicious injury, and other crimes. At the time, she was wanted by the Department of Juvenile Justice after allegedly cutting off her ankle monitor. An ankle monitor? Wow. Police said the 15-year-old was a frequent runaway who dropped out of high school. While neither was identified by name at the press conference, Fifth Circuit Solicitor Byron Gibson said his office intends to petition the family court to charge both as adults. Wow. As the investigation continues, Chief Holbrook has a message for parents amid ongoing violent crimes around the region involving minors. I'm telling you, wow. I think you got to be nosy and be involved in your children's lives and know where they are, who they're with, and what they're doing, he said. Tragic and senseless loss of a young, beautiful soul. He said, as a community, we must come together to protect our children. All local agencies must continue to work together so we can better protect our children as a community. I extend my sincerest condolences to family and friends of Kanaya Baker. Let's take a look at some of the footage from the press conference. Oh gosh. It's just so sad. It really is. Same age as Messiah. And yeah, the circumstances are vastly different, but both of them are not no longer here. 13-year-old black girls that should be dancing and prancing, enjoying 8th grade. It's just sad.
Brutal, heinous, vicious, gruesome, monstrous, and disturbing. These are the words I use to describe this murder investigation. Overnight, we've arrested 2 people. Our first suspect is a 16-year-old female. Her last known address was in Columbia. She was reported missing by her mom on January 12th. She has a history of disorderly conduct, malicious injury, throwing bodily fluids. She was wanted by the Department of Juvenile Justice for cutting off her ankle monitor around January 12th. She was last enrolled in a local high school in January of 2024, and she's currently listed as dropped out, and she is a frequent runaway. Our second suspect is a 15-year-old female. Her last known address is also in Columbia. She also was enrolled in a local high school as of last December. She is currently listed as dropped out, and she also is a frequent runaway. Was originally from Sumter, South Carolina. She was most recently in foster care here in Columbia, Richland, and was reported missing on January 12th. She also has a history of running away. I'd now like to ask our solicitor to provide some information regarding the charges against both of our suspects. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. This has been a study of collaborative investigation. So, of course, through the Columbia Police Department, the Fire Department, through SLED, through Richland County Coroner's Office, and the Sheriff's Department, that investigation has led us here today. And so it's with their hard work that we're here today able to be in a position to tell you about how we expect to pursue justice in this matter. The 2 juveniles have been charged with murder. And it's our expectation, as you know, these are ongoing investigations. So there's information, as the coroner just told us, that we're still waiting on. But based on what we've seen at this point, it was brutal. It was heinous. It was all of those words the chief used. And we expect, after the review of this information, to petition the family court to prosecute these juveniles as adults because of the heinous nature of what happened.